Hi, good morning and welcome to today's Products in Focus. As you'll be able to see there, the US markets rebounded strongly yesterday on comments from Putin that he is willing to help resolve the Ukrainian crisis peacefully. And he's even gone to try and get the separatists and the Kiev government to sit down and discuss peace talks before the allotted time for certain regions to vote on a referendum to leave the Ukraine. And there's also reports as well that Putin has come out and said that he'll remove his troops from the eastern Ukraine border, which is yet to materialise. But nevertheless, Russian stocks jumped 6% yesterday in the news, and the US 30 has now just about had a bullish engulfing pattern following on from Tuesday's dismal day. We're now floating around the 16,524 level, getting quite close to potential resistance at 16,598, and not that far away from all-time highs on the US markets yet again. So if we move on to the UK 100, you can see a kind of a similar thing, kind of a hammer formation, bounced off potential support there at 6774. We have to get beyond the short-term potential resistance at 6836 and onwards on to 6874 should the peace process and continued diplomacy work out well. Which is obviously a big ask with everything else that's happening, but you never know. What we've also got to see here is that the US 30 the Japan 225 is still trading below that potential support at 14,219, even as dollar yen reverses course slightly, with a lot of yen selling and more greenback buying on the back of that peace process. But we're still on the wrong side of the line right now, so I think Japan 225 still under some pressure. Moving on to the onto the dollar yen cross, we are pretty much bang on that strategic level at 101.80. We've talked about a lot over the last couple of months. We are below the two SMAs, the 21 and 55 period SMA. Other technical indicators are neutral, but this is going to be heavily influenced by what happens in Ukraine and obviously some of the economic announcements, macro data that's due out over today and tomorrow. If we jump on to crude West Texas, you'll be able to see here that it's come off slightly from its high, broke out strongly yesterday as the crude oil inventories were not as high as what the market was expecting, and we are just drifting around this 100.61 level. So that's a level that many traders will be looking at moving into the weekend. If I have a look at gold, it completely lost face yesterday on the back of the peace process, or the potential diplomacy, I should say, rather than the peace process. And this is a very, very bearish candle we've got on gold, smashing through multiple levels of potential support. So we're below both moving averages, below 12.95, and now eyeing up the next potential support at 12.67. Other technical indicators are neutral, indicating there could still be further room for maneuver to the downside should things continue to improve. If we then look at euro dollar, which has been drifting down after a fantastic performance there on Tuesday, we need to have a resurge. We're actually showing a pattern here of lower highs and the tips of the candles. Still eyeing up 39.68 if we continue to see weakness on the dollar. And comments from Yellen yesterday is obviously still quite dovish. Many commentators believing, if we jump on to cable, that the UK is likely to increase rates before the US in 2015. And that's one of the things that's going to continue to support GBP versus the US dollar in the near term, and for as long as UK data keeps on supporting the growth in the economy, we expect that to continue. So still eyeing up potential resistance, this long-term resistance, 2009 highs at 1.7042. Pausing for breath right now, you'd expect there to be a little bit of a sell-off before we resume upwards momentum, but it's all based now on the US and UK economic data. And if we actually have a look at the economic calendar, we've got our interest rate announcement today, that's expected to be unchanged. You've got Euro announcements unchanged, US jobless claims, that could impact cable. And if we look on Friday, a whole host of important Chinese CPI and PPI data, plus if we have a look here, a whole host of UK industrial production data, trade balance, blah blah blah. This here could be the catalyst to help us get quite close to that 1.7042 level on cable should the upwards momentum continue. And you notice here, if you have a look at my equities on here, Barclays is up 3.7%, BT Group is up 3.6%, Barclays on the job cuts announced today, about 17,000 people, and BT Group on very strong earnings that came out today. And keep your eye on the chart form. I can see there's a There's a number of clients in here, one client in particular who's posting a lot of incredibly useful technical analysis, so do get a chance to have a look at that, and make sure you make insights part of your layout, as this gives you the inside track from our global analyst team of what's moving the markets. And join me again tomorrow to find out what happened next.